A man who has structured his existence around a mission, order, and strategy is not merely an individual with a dense schedule. He is a being whose entire existence is subordinated to a code, one that resonates with the austerity of a monastic vow, or the martial regulations of a legionary, where every morning is a march, every action a ritual, and every deviation from the route is perceived as a betrayal of his own standard. His schedule is not a matter of punctuality. It is a sacred scripture engraved upon his armor. His discipline is not a mere habit. It is an oath sworn to himself on the borderland between chaos and order. It is the sole bulwark that separates him from dissolving into the undifferentiated mass. It is what guards the fire by which he does not simply move, he leads. And at the precise moment a woman appears at his side, you must observe not the way she smiles upon your ambitions, but what transpires with your focus when she becomes a permanent fixture in your life. For a woman may say anything at all, and with the most refined subtlety. She can profess admiration for your purpose, observe your actions from a distance with apparent delight, and document your every step as a testament to her fascination. Yet behind this showcase of words, framed by a feminine smile and an attentive gaze, there lurks not an admiring muse, but a silent, persistent claim. When will you finally cease to live for the mission and begin to live for me? It is from this point that a dialogue does not begin, but rather a covert, protracted, and silent war commences. This is not a conflict articulated in words. It is a collision of essences, your internal code against her emotional requisitions, your defined route against her desire to divert you from its course, your fire against her water. And if you fail to recognize this confrontation at its inception, she will begin to rewrite the map, your map, in accordance with her own fears, desires, and limitations. A woman of strength is tested not by her words, but by her silence. She does not demand your time when you are in a state of flow. She does not take offense at your profound concentration. She does not dismantle your schedule with inquiries of, "What about us?" because she possesses the wisdom to know that if you collapse, there will be no us to speak of. But the woman who is incapable of respecting your self-organization does not see a man in you. She sees an instrument. She sees fuel for her own emotional comfort, a resource around which she can construct her concept of feminine happiness. The problem, however, is that a man is not a resource. A man is a system. And if a woman is not integrated into this system, she invariably disrupts it. It is here that the great substitution is born. She does not say, "Change yourself." She says, "You have become cold," or "You are different now," or "There is not enough of you for me." This is not an expression of care. It is an assault veiled in the language of pain. It is not your distance that frightens her. It is the terrifying possibility that you are once again finding your own center. Because a woman who does not respect your discipline will never express gratitude for your sacrifice. She will accept it as the norm, and then she will demand more. You are obligated to understand that the moment you begin to justify your own priorities is not a moment of dialogue, it is the beginning of your capitulation. You do not merely lose an argument in that exchange, you lose the very ground upon which you stand. A man capable of leading does not explain his point of focus because it is not subject to negotiation. He does not demand understanding for his training. He does not seek permission for his discipline, nor does he expect sympathy for his rigor. He lives in a state of heightened precision, akin to a commander on the front lines, where every failure results in casualties. A woman at his side either adopts this precision as her standard, or, unable to withstand it, begins to dismantle it, not openly, but gently, under the mask of participation, love, and the desire to be closer. It is at this juncture that you must be merciless. If her presence requires you to decompress and lose your form, she is not an ally, but a Trojan threat. If she laughs at the rituals that construct your will, much like an architect erects the columns of a load-bearing structure, this is no longer irony, it is an artillery calibration against your very foundation. Her laughter is not a sign of levity, but an instinctive protest against a structure she cannot control. The woman who demands more emotion from you is not inviting you to intimacy. She is inviting you to a forfeiture of your form. Because every demand for emotional more requires you to become less precise, less calculated, and less composed. And if she begins to resent your engagement with your process, as if you are betraying her by staying your course, this is not pain. This is a veiled envy of the fact that your objective is more important to you than she is. And a woman for whom this is unacceptable is not an ally. She is a diversionary tactic designed to make you loosen your grip. This is not love. It is a struggle for control of your energy. And if you lose it, you will lose more than just the woman. You will lose your path. A woman created to be alongside a man of purpose does not seek to conquer his attention. She seeks to support his distance, for she knows that a man without focus is a man without form, and a man without form is an object, not a subject. And if you have allowed yourself to become an object of her caprice, you have already lost, even if you are still physically present. Therefore, you must ask yourself a single, merciless question. Does her presence adversely affect your precision, that meticulous sharpening which forges you into a weapon rather than a mere ornament? If the answer is yes, you are already under fire. For when so-called love demands that you abandon the very system that forges your superiority, it is not love. It is a substitution, a politely packaged invasion. And the sooner you comprehend that what is being introduced into your life under the guise of warmth is in fact chaos, the sooner you will reclaim that ice-cold focus which makes a man a force before which others retreat without a word. A woman must not be your reason to falter. She can only be the reason to stand with even greater precision, to walk an even straighter line, and to hold that line with even more unyielding resolve. All else is sabotage, artfully disguised as sentiment. At the very core of an authentic man resides discipline, not in the form of an imposed asceticism or as a neurotic attempt to control chaos, but as a voluntary expression of authority over his own nature. Discipline is the mature form of self-love, articulated not through emotion, but through structure. It is not a lifestyle choice. It is a system for the preservation of energy, of focus, of trajectory. And as soon as a woman enters the life of such a man, a test commences. A test not of her, but of your architecture, because it is discipline itself that she will first target, even without a conscious awareness of doing so. Do not listen to her compliments or allow yourself to be caught by her rapturous remarks about your sense of purpose. Instead, observe how she reacts when you say no, when you refuse to move your schedule for her whims, when you do not sacrifice a morning training session for the sake of a spontaneous conversation, when you remain loyal to your standards, even if it causes her irritation. It is precisely within this friction that the truth of her essence is revealed. Is she a partner, or is she a saboteur? A weak woman will invariably label your consistency as coldness, your regimen as inhumanity, and your concentration as obsession, because she does not live within a system. She lives within the realm of emotion, and everything that does not bend to her rhythm will provoke her rejection. She will not launch a frontal assault, but instead will work to destabilize the walls, first with subtle grievances, then with doubts, and finally with accusations. And if you do not hold your ground, you will lose not her, you will lose yourself. A man who proceeds along the line of discipline does not demand to be understood. He demands to be respected. He does not require an audience. He requires silence. He offers no explanation for his regimen, nor does he justify his rituals. Each of his no's is a load-bearing element of his structure. And the woman who stands beside him, not because she desires comfort, but because she wishes to be privy to strength, will respect every facet of that wall. She will not ask you to be softer. She will bring you cement. Discipline is not merely a schedule. It is a code, a sacred contract a man makes with his own future. And if a woman laughs at this, she is not playing. She is testing. And if you surrender, not for the sake of love, but for a peaceful atmosphere, you surrender control, and then that which you have built for years will begin to crumble. It will not be destroyed by a catastrophe, but by erosion. And the most terrifying part is that you will not notice it is happening. By the time you do, respect will already be dead, both in her eyes and in your own. You must not be flexible on the matters that form you. You must be uncompromisingly rigid on the points that constitute your very being. A woman who cannot withstand your structure is not an ally. She is a form of hidden damage, because a true companion is not the one who applauds you at the summit, but the one who does not undermine the ladder while you are still climbing it. Therefore, cease to listen to her emotions and begin to observe her algorithms. Does she assist you in being composed, precise, and purposeful? Or is her presence the very cause of an internal softening, of distraction, of doubt? Because a man who forfeits his discipline for the sake of a woman loses both the woman and the discipline, and is ultimately left alone, not as a hero, but as one who, in exchange for fleeting approval, surrendered the very blueprints to his own fortress.